Hi, I'm Catherine Fulvio, and this week I am making a gorgeous minestrone soup as part of our Stop Food Waste Challenge. You know, the task really is for us this week to make sure we have as little leftovers as possible, and what we do have left over, it's how to reuse it in a creative way. And one thing that's always left over is rice and pasta, and you wouldn't believe it, but it actually all mounts up cost-wise and environment-wise. We waste up to a quarter of what we buy. How crazy is that? I have these pasta measures from Stop Food Waste. So this is for pasta and for rice, and it's so handy because we all know what we do. We just eyeball it, don't we? We kind of pour in and go, maybe another little bit in case everybody's hungry. And then it's left, and we think of it as cheap food. So we're not so worried about it being left over. Whereas in fact, think of the environment, think of your pocket, and think about how you could make it into a really nice meal again. So that's for your rice or your pasta, but also this here is your spaghetti measure. So it's marked out in portions of 1, 2, and 3. Let me show you. Have it here, ready for you. Can you see that? So that there is portion for 2 people. That's all you need for 2 people for spaghetti, so you don't have it left over. So for the purposes of today, I actually cooked some pasta just to prove that you can use leftover pasta. When you do have leftovers, do think about how you're going to store it. These kind of containers are absolutely brilliant for it. So make sure it's stored safely in your fridge or your freezer and labelled and dated so you know what's in it. And the date is important because you do want to be using it up within a certain time. And you know something, if you head over to stopfoodwaste.ie, there is so much information there about food storage, about how to use your ingredients. There's the A to Z of food. There's everything you'd want to know there. So let's get cracking on our recipe. So we have our saucepan here, and we're going to cook off our onion because there's always a few onions in the press, isn't there? So we get our heat on, and a nice bit of heat, and I'm going with a bit of olive oil in here. And then as that begins to heat up, we're going to start to cook our onions. So not only in this recipe am I using my leftover pasta, but I have here a tomato sauce that I made as well. So I'm going to use that. So I made that in big batches, and I use it for the likes of soups, I use it for stews, I use it for lasagnas, anything. And for just a regular nice bit of pasta with a lovely bit of parmesan on top. So my top tip is, if you are going to cook, maybe cook in batches and then freeze it appropriately in freezer bags and use it as you want. You'll actually feel really great heading to the freezer and thinking, what do I make for dinner? And you go, okay, I've got this, I could use this up, and then head to the fridge and pull that out, and the next thing you know, you have a lovely dish. So, okay, other key ingredients. We want carrot, there's always a few carrots left, and celery, there's always a couple of stalks of celery left. So, we just trim our celery. Now, one of the bugbears I have about celery are the strings. So, tip for you, you just get your knife underneath like this, and you pull, and it pulls those strings back, and I am telling you, they are like dental floss. They are awful things, in my opinion, and I do not like them in my food. So I just peel them off like this, and then go ahead and prepare my celery. There we are. And then I have, of course, as always, my little caddy, which I love. This is my favorite thing. And I pop my compost in there, and I can put my cartons from my eggs in there as well. It's a newspaper in there, and it all mulches down into a lovely compost. So let's prepare our celery. So we're just going to do strands of celery like this, and then we're just going to, so we've got our 3 strips, and then we just bunch it all together and we cut across. There we are. And now our carrot, I've already peeled the carrot, so I'm just trimming it, and again into my caddy. And then I just need to dice up the carrot. All right, let's get that in. So lovely colour building up here already. And you know what's great about this soup? It's lovely and hearty. It freezes really well, which is perfect for our Stop Food Waste campaign. But it's packed with a whole array of different veggies and pulses and everything. So basically you go to your fridge and you say, what's in the fridge? What can I use? So let's prepare our mange too. I'm just going to cut these in half. And they'll soften down. These go in later, but I'm preparing them now while my base of the soup is cooking. Our veggies are beautiful and soft now, so it's just a case of adding in a little bit more flavour, and that comes in the form of garlic. Did you know you can actually chop and freeze garlic So when you're chopping one clove, you might as well chop a few. But the other thing you can do is you can pound it down in a food processor in a pestle and mortar with some olive oil and store it in the fridge. And then you've just got your oily garlic that you just put a spoonful of in every time you're going to cook something, because we all love the flavour of garlic. So in goes our garlic. So I always put the garlic in just that little bit later so that it doesn't burn. And then chilli flakes, in they go. That's to taste now. And fresh chilli will do as well. So please just have a look and see what you have to hand. The reason I wanted to use the chilli flakes is I've had them in my store cupboard for a while. I'm not crazy about chilli myself, so I find I have it left over quite a bit. And you do need to keep moving what's in your store cupboard on as well. So here is the tomato sauce. This is very simply made. It's just cans of chopped tomato with some garlic and some dried herbs that I had, a little bit of oregano and the likes, a little bit of salt, pepper and a little bit of sugar. And I slow cooked that, and I make that in batches, and I freeze it in either the freezer proof bags or I freeze it in little containers. And then I add chilli to it as I need to, or cream to it, or maybe a bit of mascarpone, depending on what I'm making. Like a mascarpone tomato sauce is absolutely lovely, or a ricotta tomato sauce is lovely. So think of it like a core ingredient that you can add to it. It's really nice with a bit of smoked bacon added in as well. Or chorizo, come to think of it. Oh yeah, very nice. Now let's heat that back up again. Bring that to the boil, and now we need to add a bit of stock. So that is our core tomato sauce. So I suppose what I wanted to suggest is to kind of get used to making these kind of key staples in your kitchen, the likes of salad dressings. Like I make mine in a big jar, and it's a great thing because I can just like help myself whenever I need it. And you're more likely to have a salad if you have a nice salad dressing in the fridge. So stock goes in. And let's get in I have kidney beans because I happen to have them, but you could use cannellini beans or whatever you have, butter beans. So in they go. And whilst in the recipe I've given you measurements, there are no measurements, if you understand. This is go to the store cupboard, go to your freezer, go to your fridge, gather what you have and make a really tasty meal out of it. And then I have my leftover pasta, so I'm going to pop all of that in. So this is already cooked. I don't want to overcook it. I don't want it to go all mushy on me. We'll pop that in. It's lovely. I'm going to pop the munch too in now because I want them to soften a little bit in it. And now the spinach goes in. Give it a stir. And it literally just wilt in, so I'm going to turn my heat off now. And just let my spinach soften. And that is minestrone soup. For this recipe and lots more information on stop food waste, do go to stopfoodwaste.ie.